Are you looking at purchasing or selling a home in and around Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and curious what the most recent market trends are? In this video, I will be going over the Northern Idaho market trends for March and April of 2026. Welcome back to my channel, Living North Idaho, where I discuss all things about real estate and living your best life in North Idaho. There were 368 homes that closed in our entire MLS this year, compared to 344 from March of 2025. Curious what the breakdown for those sales are? Because those numbers are based on our entire MLS. That goes anywhere from up to the Canadian border to Washington to Montana, all the way south. But let's look at some of the cities and what number of sales they had. Of those sales, 59 of them were in Coeur d'Alene. 79 of them were in Post Falls. 43 of them were in Hayden, and 48 of them were in Rathdrum. 37% of the sales were cash sales, making that 100 cash sales for the month of March, which is 19 homes more than the previous month of February when it was only 81 cash sales. Now, let's take a look at the breakdown for those cash sales and what price brackets they were in. 22 of those cash sales were sold under $300,000. 23 of the sales were between $300,000 and $500,000. 25 were between $500,000 and $750,000. 13 were between $750,000 and $1 million. 10 were between $1 million and $2 million, and 8 of those sales were over $2 million, all cash. The majority of the homes that closed were between $400,000 and $500,000, which has been similar for previous months too, and there were 81 sales in that price range. But $500,000 to $600,000 wasn't that far behind, with 63 sales in that price range. 39 of the homes that closed were for over $1 million, which is slightly up from the previous month of February when it was 33 sales. Now, when you take a look at that number, that's actually only 10% of the sales were over $1 million. Compared to there being 1,499 active listings in our MLS, of which 444 of those are priced over $1 million, making that 30% of the active homes. So when you take a look at that, we have a lot of homes that are over that $1 million price range, but not a lot of buyers in that range. So yes, it may look like we do have a fair amount of inventory. However, the buyers are not there for the inventory in that price range. The price range with the most price changes was between $400,000 and $500,000, with 55 homes having price changes. Now that is a different price range than the previous month, and $500,000 to $600,000 was not that far behind, with 53 homes having price changes in the month of March. Sales for the month of March were up 7% from the same time last year. And March of 2025, the average interest rate was between 6.6% and 6.7%. And today the interest rates are sitting a little bit closer to 6.3 to 6.4%, which is roughly a quarter to a third of a percent less than the same time last year. Now that could be a reason why some people are getting off the fence and deciding to buy. But a lot of the clients that I'm talking to, it's more they're just sick of waiting and they need more space. They need the bigger room, or they need to downsize. The median price for those sold properties was $525,000, which is a $2,277 decrease from the previous month, but that was the same median price that sold in March of 2025. The median days on market for non-distressed or new construction homes was 90 days. So it is taking homes a little bit longer to sell. Of the sales of all those properties, 83 of them were new construction, making that 23% of the sales new construction sales. Now let's take a look at the breakdown for those new construction sales, where they are and about what price ranges they are in. For new construction, we still are seeing a few options under about 450,000 is now kind of the low bracket for Coeur d'Alene and Post Falls. If you want a little bit lower, they're going to probably be condos or townhouses. But if you need prices even under that, you may have to go a little bit further out if you're looking for new construction. There is currently one active short sale in the MLS. There have been 3 that have closed so far in 2026, and there are currently 2 that are pending. There are currently 3 active REO or bank-owned properties in the MLS. There have been 3 that have closed successfully so far in 2026, and there are currently 2 that are pending. For the closed properties, 35% of them paid some sort of seller's concessions. Now, that could be in lieu of repairs. If something came up during the inspection, instead of taking it off of the price, the buyer could have just asked for a credit at closing. It could be for closing costs when they negotiated the contract up front. It could also be for buy down rates, again, when they negotiated the contract. Just 35% of those sellers did offer some sort of concessions to the buyer to get that property successfully closed. So just keep that in mind if you're a seller and a buyer asks for some concessions. If you're not willing to give them, maybe someone else down the road may be to get the deal sold. And if you're a buyer, don't be afraid to ask. The only time it doesn't really work out is if the home is a hot home, they have multiple offers, but you still may be able to negotiate some closing costs in. For a buyer, always ask for them. You never know what a seller is going to say. Now let's take a look at the breakdown for the sales, how long they were on the market, and what the original list price to sold price ratio was. So looking at that breakdown, you can actually see if the home was on the market for less than 30 days, it is selling for over asking. So yes, some properties are still getting multiple offers on them. In fact, for the month of March, 64 of those homes that closed out with multiple offers. So let's take a look at the breakdown for those multiple offers, what price range they were in, and some statistics on the house. So as you can see, it is definitely the spring market. We are picking up with listings. We are also picking up on sales. And I think it's getting to the point that some buyers are not waiting. They're ready to move on. They're ready to have that garden area, the bigger backyard, or space for a shop. They're not going to wait for the interest rates to come down because they realize that they're not going to come down. Or if they do, it may be only slightly, but then are they going to be into more bidding wars with more buyers? For sellers, if you price your home at fair market value and not above, you will get very close to your list price, and you may get multiple offers, which allows you to be able to pick the best offer that's for you. So again, just like in months past, if you're a seller, do not overprice your home. Price your home at fair market and set yourself out right. Sellers, if you're using an agent, make sure they're using professional photography because so many buyers start out their search online. And if your home doesn't entice them online, they probably won't come and see it. If you have any questions about buying or selling in this area, please reach out. My name is Amanda Cuthbert. I'm with the Phoenix Agency.